7:52 at KNEB. Time for today's News Extra program. It is brought to you by First State Bank in Scottsbluff and Gering. Here to visit with us this morning, Kitty Amaya. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Kitty is with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Office in Omaha, Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity, and is here in town once again to be at this Fair Housing Conference, which is underway here momentarily over in Gering at the Civic Center. So tell us a little bit about this conference. I know the registration period is already closed, so tell us about what's going to be happening there today.
The conference that Nancy Bentley and the Panhandle Continuum of Care has spearheaded, I'm trying to think back at how long really that I've been coming out here. It's upwards of 6 or 7 years. But I don't think the conversation about fair housing could ever end. Given the amount of complaints that we have, there's always something that someone needs to know. And I think HUD's mission is being carried out by this conference in being able to talk about what can you do and what can't you do. And that's really applicable to both landlords, real estate agents, lenders, and the general public.
And so that's really who this conference is for.
Definitely.
So what topics are you going to specifically be either speaking on or serving in a panel? Or
well, I'm going to kind of do all of that. We are trying to address the questions and the issues that are in front of us that we hear the public talking about in cases that we've had. And I'm going to talk about the Fair Housing Act, not just 24 CFR or talking about the regulations, but what they mean and what you're supposed to do with them, and give some examples. Another issue, because of the 51% of our cases are from disability issues, we're going to talk about companion animals. Generationally, we're getting older, and if someone needs a companion animal, everyone needs to know what to do about that, and not just say yes and not just say no. You need to know how to follow the law.
And not just service animals.
That's
You're
correct.
saying companion animals.
And I'll give you an example. If someone has a disability that's mental and perhaps we don't even know about it, a tenant's been there for 5 years, but they come in one day and say, I need a companion animal. You're going to need to know as a landlord or owner what to do with that request. Do they need a doctor's note? And generally, yes, they do. However, there are some folks that say no, and what are the reasons that you can say no? We've had examples of, well, I believe the dog is vicious. We can't just have that belief. We really have to defer to the doctor about the need of that tenant and then try to fulfill that if it's a qualified request.
Scope of the Fair Housing Act applies to everybody who rents a property?
Absolutely. And one of the reasons...
Or sells a property?
It sells a property, buys a property. I think one of the unknown facts about the Fair Housing Act is that it really does include every real estate transaction. That could be the appraiser, the mortgage consultant, the buyer, the seller, as well as renting.
So it isn't just about public housing or anything like that.
That's a good point. It isn't just about public housing. I think that some individuals attribute HUD to Section 8 or public housing. And while we do fund those programs, fair housing laws are for everyone because we really do. The entire United States falls into a protected class. That's race, color, national origin, disability, familial status. And we could all be either the person who does the discrimination or the person who experiences it. So education to both of those groups is really important.
What are most of the complaints about? Is it bold-faced discrimination to say, well, I'm not going to rent to that guy, or I'm not selling to that person, or is it sort of backdoor?
It's really not as overt as potentially it used to be. Terms and conditions, anything with that rental relationship, evicting someone for no reason, perhaps based on their national origin, what country they're from, but they do it to other people too, and so they think that policy is neutral and that isn't discrimination. And we found that potentially that is a discriminatory act if you have a policy that allows you to do that to a particular population.
Our guest is Kitty Amaya. She's with HUD at the Omaha office, and we'll be back and visit more about this Fair Housing Conference and issues related right after this.
At First State Bank, we feel it's important to shop around for the best rate when it comes to purchasing your home.
Hi, I'm Kayla Cape. mortgage lender with First State Bank, and we want to help you get the house of your dreams so you can make it your home. We offer competitive rates, great turnaround times, and a friendly helping hand to guide you through the process. I invite you to come in and see why when we say we're big on you, we mean it.
First State Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
On the News Extra program, just a couple of minutes left to visit with Kitty Amaya from HUD in Omaha. So how would a person who wants to find out more without being at this conference today, how do you do it in everyday life, either to file a complaint or just ask a question, whether you're the buyer or seller or the leasee, lessee, whatever the case may be?
Well, we do have HUD.gov where we have different office locations and phone numbers. The local Omaha office is probably the closest, and our number is 402-492-3109. In the Omaha office, we do handle the jurisdiction of all of Nebraska and all of Iowa, and so that is a means also. You can file a complaint and or contact us online when you go to HUD.gov to be able to get your questions answered. Also, the resources about, whatever you might be facing. There's probably a column or article or rules on there to kind of let you know, because oftentimes people feel like something is wrong, something didn't go right with that transaction or interaction with someone, and they just want to be able to read to make sure that what they're feeling was either legitimate and also what to do about it.
Do you have field offices, or are you just in Omaha?
We are a field office in Omaha.
So you're a field office in Omaha.
Yes, and our regional office is in Kansas City.
Okay.
We also have a HUD office in Des Moines and in St. Louis as part of our region.
Okay. Well, hopefully it's well attended, and it normally is. I've been by that facility on the day of this event, and it's like, whoa, what's going on there?
Yeah,
go,
there's always, at least 100 people there. Nancy
Yeah.
does a really good job of outreach, and today we're offering continuing education credits for that conference, and we'll have a law firm, Simon Olson, will be there to talk about how to do evictions. And, of course, Gretchen Uri, who always comes every year with me, will be talking about criminal history and Landlord-Tenant Act.
Okay, so very good. A full day at the Fair Housing Conference going on at the Civic Center in Gering today. Kitty, thanks for being with us. Always good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
All right. That is our program for this morning, and brought to you again today by First State Bank.